Hello and welcome to my most recent Doctor Who review. It is Doctor Who Series 7, A Town Called Mercy. It was a really good episode, I thought. Just thought I'd throw that in there. It's starring Matt Smith, Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill. Plot, basically a cyborg type cowboy called the Gunslinger is hunting down several scientists that were involved in creating him. So kind of like monster kills creator type thing going on. And he basically hunts down the last of his creators to a cowboy-like town called Mercy. And the Doctor and his companions get involved. Moving on. Good point. There's an awesome opening scene. The opening scene is very well done. I like the fact that the Gunslinger basically is the first thing we see, and he's basically hunting down one of his creators and kills him. It's quite mysterious as well, which is good. There's a good music score. I think the music score for that entire episode was really, really, really good. Sounded good, and it fit well with the story, obviously. Great setting. The sets are amazing. Very well done. The cyborg gunslinger costume is brilliant. It looks like a really well made costume. Looks very realistic in a surreal, non-realism way. The character Isaac, the sheriff, his acting is superb, and so is Jex, the doctor, Dr. Carlos Jex or something like that. I thought his acting was really well done as well. I think throughout this episode, the supporting cast is very strong in the episode. Like, compared to the main cast, I mean, the main cast are... I'm not saying they're bad acting in this, but the supporting cast are just really strong in this episode. The Gunslinger is amazing. I like his weaponry. I like the different things he can do. Like, for example, he can target people with his eye device and do all the scanning and stuff, and you can do this cloaking device weird teleporty thing. I'm not quite sure if it's a teleport or a cloaking device, but yeah. Isaac's death is emotional when he gets shot by the gunslinger. It's quite an emotional death. I felt pretty when Isaac died. Jex is subtly evil, which is a great little twist. And to be honest, it's acted really well by the actor. But he has a kind of good side as well, which is nice to see. I think it's well acted. The evil side and the good side of him is really well acted out. And I like the nice little end with the gunslinger at the end. But I will not spoil that for you. Moving on to bad points. These are just some points that I'm not too happy with. The Doctor using a gun. I know it has happened before a few times. Each time I wasn't really that too happy about it. I know the Doctor has used a gun. Well, had a gun in The Gunslingers, which is a story that was a cowboy western story in William Hartnell's era. And I don't like the fact that the darkness of the Doctor went from being subtly shown to just being shown full on. I know in the previous episode where he let Solomon die, that was kind of not subtle, but this was just basically expanding on that a bit too much. I mean, if they just left it at Solomon's death, but then just left it, it would have been fine. But now building on it, and now looking back at the dinosaur one, I don't like the fact that they're taking the subtleness of showing the darkness of the Doctor and just showing it full on. Amy being the voice of reason in this episode where the Doctor's basically pointing a gun at Jex, and then Amy's being the voice of reason. I don't really understand that, because even though she's travelled with the Doctor and learned a lot like the Doctor, I just don't think that's... I think that's a bit out of character for Amy, really. Because I'm sure if something bad happened to Amy, she would seek vengeance. Because it's in her nature. So yeah, I thought that was annoying. Again, the Doctor carrying a gun. Yeah. Throughout most of the episode, he seems to be carrying a gun, which is a bit of a bad symbol. Even though he doesn't use it. It's still a bit of a bad symbol, really. I find it's just a redo of the gunfighters, to be honest. That's a bad point. I know the gunfighters is a bit mediocre, but I do think it's just a redo of the gunfighters with more things added to it. It's basically taking the gunfighters and adding a lot more interesting stuff to it, which I've said is a bad thing, but it's also a good thing in a way, but it's not on my good list. I think it was a very predictable end to Jex. I didn't really like the fact that it was quite a predictable end to Jex's character. How he just set his ship to self-destruct and killed himself. But then again... So yeah, that was a good point and bad points. I think the strongest character, the strongest acting would probably be from Matt Smith, really, from the main cast. Supporting cast, it would probably be Isaac or Jex. I'm sorry, I don't know their acting names at this moment in time, but I think another bad thing, this isn't on my bad points thing because my bad points thing's over, but I think Amy and Rory didn't really seem to do much in this story, to be honest. I don't think Rory had particularly any lines, virtually none. And I know Amy did have that bit where she was reasoning, like being the voice of reason to the Doctor, but even so, Amy didn't really have many lines. I suppose it just shows, it's kind of showing that the Doctor doesn't really need them. I know he needs a companion, but they're becoming like, it just shows that they're becoming less and less important in the stories, which I think is a good thing. I'll give it a rating out of 10. That rating is a 7 out of 10. I think it was probably the best episode of the series so far. I mean, Asylum was awful, and Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was good, but, well, it was mediocre, I suppose. But this is better. This is better. I liked it. The next episode looks a bit meh, but we'll see. I suppose I've got to give it a chance, like I do with most things. Until next time, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you wish to keep up to date with my videos or just watch them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.